From playing on Chicago's sidewalks to becoming the global R&B legend to many older generations, R. Kelly's rise to stardom was one that spoke of his incredible stunning ability, strong determination for success, and his intense connection to listeners. But all that in recent years has gone down the drain. The R&B star is now serving jail term, one whose life his attorneys have said is now in danger. Named Robert Sylvester Kelly, but popularly known as R. Kelly, stands as one of the most influential and controversial figures in the music industry. Born January 8, 1967 on the south side of Chicago, Illinois, Kelly was raised in a poor household with his single mother, Joanne Kelly. Despite a difficult childhood life of poverty and abuse, music was an early escape route for a young Kelly. He sang in church and showed a natural talent that would eventually take him straight into the spot. Kelly's musical path changed dramatically when he started playing in the streets and subway stops of Chicago.
And lawyers for R. Kelly want him released, saying his life is in danger behind bars.
Filed a motion seeking the immediate release of R. Kelly based on the solicitation of his murder. We will ask President Trump to help us. We will. Because at this point, he seems to be the only person with both the power and the courage to stand up to these people and make it count. So I'll ask him now, I'll ask him again, I will ask the president to help us. Because R. Kelly's life is in danger right now, today. And as these words become public, that danger increases.
In the late 1980s, he put together a band called MGM, Musically Gifted Men, and their skills were discovered by talent scouts. MGM achieved its big success when they captured a $100,000 0-cents grand prize for appearing on the TV program Big Break, which was hosted by Natalie Cole. This success resulted in Kelly signing with Jive Records. It was in 1992 that Kelly took it upon himself during his solo career with his first album, Bourne into the 90s. The album was a hit with top single releases like Honey Love and Slow Dance, Hey Mr. DJ. However, it was his solo song in 1993, 12 Play, that finally pushed him into superstardom. The album included the #1 hit single Bump and Grind, which sealed his status as an R&B legend. His mixture of sexy lyrics, smooth vocals, and street-savvy charisma resonated with listeners across the board. Fans loved it. In the 1990s and early 2000s, R. Kelly built a legendary status as the king of R&B. He released a string of hit albums, including R. Kelly in 1995, R in 1998, and TP202 in the year 2000. These albums produced classic singles like I Believe I Can Fly, Ignition, When a Woman's Fed Up, and I'm Your Angel. I Believe I Can Fly, in particular, earned him 3 Grammy Awards and was an anthem of inspiration worldwide. Kelly was not only a vocalist, but also a prolific songwriter and producer. He sang and produced Michael Jackson, You Are Not Alone, and other A-list musicians like Aaliyah, Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, and many others. His ear for hits and production skills made him one of the most sought-after names in R&B and pop music. By mid-decade in the 2000s, R. Kelly was not only one of the best-selling music acts of his era with over 75 million records sold worldwide, but a pop cultural figurehead as well. His Trapped in the Closet hip-hop era saga, although unconventional, drew negative and positive attention alike for storylines and originality. Kelly's appeal went beyond music. He was a headlining tour draw and a media figure with a household name. But though his musical success was ever his top priority, R. Kelly's career was always marked by controversy and legal problems that would end up changing the dynamics of the career he spent decades building. But in all honesty, when it came to pure musical ascension, few artists in the 1990s and early 2000s experienced as much commercial viability or cultural salience as R. Kelly did. The former king of R&B has seen his career and image marred by a series of legal battles that have spanned more than 2 decades. Although rumors and allegations kept him out the decades, it was not until the 2000s and 2010s that he was given prolonged legal scrutiny that led to convictions against him and saw him imprisoned for extended periods of time. The first big case came in 2022 when Kelly was indicted on 21 counts of child pornography in Chicago. The case had come after a videotape which allegedly showed him engaging in intercourse with a child was used to indict. The case lingered in the court for 6 years. And in 2008, he was acquitted on all charges, primarily because the jury was not sure of the girl's identity, declined to testify. Despite that acquittal, Kelly's legal troubles persisted.
One of the anonymous accusers in R. Kelly's criminal case is speaking out publicly for the very first time.
February 18, 2003, I get a phone call to come down and do his hair. When he came to the room and he asked me for that head massage, and I told him I didn't do massages, I laughed it off. And I didn't know he was for real. If I could change that day, I wouldn't have been there. He pulled my braid down by him, and he said, suck it for daddy, suck it for daddy. And I said, no, and I did like this, and he just started going. He did it like six times.
In 2017, new criticism appeared when there was a BuzzFeed News report that he was holding young women captive in what was called a sex cult. This reignited new investigations and incensed people further after the premiere of the 2019 documentary series titled Surviving R. Kelly. The documentary series featured testimony from numerous survivors and generated international awareness of the claims. In 2019, Kelly was taken into custody on federal charges in Chicago and New York. They were racketeering, sex trafficking children, kidnapping, and forced labor. Prosecutors claim that Kelly took advantage of his fame and influence to recruit, groom, and sexually abuse underage girls and young women over a span of decades. In September 2021, a Brooklyn federal jury found Kelly guilty on 9 counts, including sex trafficking and racketeering, in a trial on evidence and witness testimony that exposed a pattern of exploitation and manipulation. In June 2022, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison. The conviction was a turning point not only for his career, but for the broader cultural transformation that held those in power accountable. Kelly also was charged independently in Chicago, where in 2023 he pleaded guilty to multiple counts of child pornography and soliciting a minor. He received an additional 20-year sentence, much of which will overlap with his Brooklyn sentence. These happenings have changed the reputation of R. Kelly, making him from a music icon to a symbol of long undocumented exploitation in the entertainment industry. 4 years into his sentence to prison, things are starting to get rather dramatic. In an emergency court filing last Tuesday, Kelly's attorney, Bo Brinley, claimed the 57-year-old singer faces imminent danger at FCI Butler, Medium I, the North Carolina federal prison, where Kelly is serving a 30-year sentence for sexual misconduct and racketeering convictions. Brinley held a press conference the same day urging Trump to act swiftly and bypass traditional clemency channels. R. Kelly's life is now threatened because of his willingness to fight and to expose the very kind of corruption that President Trump has been fighting and standing up to since the day he took that office. Brinley said at a press conference, "I will ask President Trump to help us because we need him." According to the 20-page motion submitted by his attorneys, the conspiracy began while Kelly was housed at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, MCC, in Chicago. Following his conviction, Kelly's attorneys say that during this time, staff at MCC, federal prosecutors, and Kelly's former cellmate, who was a convicted sex trafficker from India, stole his legal mail, violating attorney-client privilege. The motion claims these stolen communications were used to manipulate Kelly's then-girlfriend, Azriel Clary, into cooperating with prosecutors. The attorneys argue the motive was driven by jealousy and pressure from law enforcement, according to the Chicago Tribune. Since his transfer to FCI Butler in North Carolina, the motion alleges the threats have escalated. Kelly reportedly received a phone call from a Bureau of Prisons BOP official warning him to avoid the mess hall and commissary due to concerns about potentially poisoned food. The motion also claims a high-ranking member of the Aryan Brotherhood allegedly approached Kelly and said he had been offered a deal by prison officials, kill Kelly, and they'd help him escape. And it got worse the next day after the motion was moved and Brinley spoke up again. In his statement, Brinley said the need for a pardon from Trump becomes more imminent by the day, claiming that immediately after our motion became public, Robert was thrown into solitary confinement and he cannot make phone calls to his family, nor does he have access to commissary. The worst of it is that they have told him that as long as we keep up our investigation and our motions, it is only going to get worse for Robert. Brinley claimed, "This is why we need President Trump to step in now. He is the only force strong enough to quell the corruption before it gets worse." What becomes of R. Kelly in the next days to come? Like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay updated.